Great.
So this is Devin Keane from the University of Michigan and the School of Information.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here at this annual event. It's such a lovely event, and I'm really grateful that the TRIO team at GRCC has been able to continue to innovate and transfer things to the online environment. Who knew? I think none of us expected this to last this long, but we are adaptable. Um, so yes, my name is Devin Keane. I am newly appointed Director of Inclusion, Equity, and Outreach at the School of Information. And what that essentially means is that in addition to connecting with transfer students, I'm really overseeing our broader diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. And a big part of that, of course, is educational access and making sure that everyone who has an interest in going to University of Michigan or who's ever even considered it or never considered it gets real information, real just real details to make real decisions about whether University of Michigan is a fit for them. So often students are going based on rumors, based on maybe hearsay, what other people have said, and real concerns, and we can help alleviate some of those or explain some of the others. And so this is something that we do broadly at the School of Information. So we will be hiring a person who will be working with me to do outreach. So that posting will go out sometime this winter. And then we'll also have another position that will be within our Office of Academic and Student Affairs. So those are some of the sort of administrative updates, but all of us are committed to continuing these important partnerships with our community colleges and students. And I loved that Michelle had a list of all the alum that had participated and gone on to enroll in your programs. And I thought to myself, gosh, we've had so many wonderful GRCC students involved in our program, many of whom have eventually enrolled. And now we have at least one who's graduated. Actually, is it more than one? Anyways, I have to look at my list. I have a whole spreadsheet where I keep track of these things. So today, so I'm happy to answer questions about University of Michigan broadly. I'm going to talk today about our Community College Summer Institute, which is a nice way for folks to get an introduction to the fields of information science. And through connecting through the Institute, they have access to learning more about the University of Michigan broadly. So that's really part of it. As Anna Maria was saying, we do have a more flexible deadline. We did some switching to our format. So I'm going to work through the presentation. I tend to get a little bit off track. So I'm going to go through the slides and then sort of add information from there and open the questions. I'm super excited. We have folks on the Zoom right now who participated in our Institute last year. So hi, Natalie, who else I see? Duke there, some other folks who can speak to their experience as well. So our tagline at School of Information is information changes everything. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Community College Summer Program and then a little bit about the fields of information science. So our institute is a week long. We did it, it's usually been 3 days in person, which has been a lot of information, a lot of experiences, very intense 3 days in person. This year, we spread it out over the course of a week because it was online. We anticipate that will, our dates in this year will actually be in June, probably the first week in June, same as last year. We have put in a request. Our provost has asked what events we would like to have in person if the public health and welfare environment would allow for it. So we have put in a request that if possible and if it's safe for everyone, that we would like to have the Institute in person this year. So we are waiting to hear back on whether that will be possible. At any rate, it will be, if it's fully online, then participation will continue to be through registration. We know that COVID has made things extremely difficult for folks, and especially last year, with it sort of happening, taking all of us by surprise, we wanted to create the opportunity for folks to participate in a value-added experience that broaden their horizons and let them know about some more possibilities for their future, either at the School of Information or University of Michigan broadly. And so we moved to a registration process where folks essentially signed up for this week-long experience that was divided across several days. It was really important to us, for participants to determine their level of participation. Um, we know now, we've gone through this for almost a year now, that it can be very tiring to be on Zoom sometimes. But we also know that folks have different work schedules and different constraints. They might have childcare responsibilities. And we really wanted folks to know that you are welcome, and we want you to have this opportunity to learn more about the School of Information and the University of Michigan. So you get to determine your level of participation. There are synchronous, meaning in-person, real-time activities, and asynchronous opportunities available, meaning content that's on our Canvas site, our platform that we use, where folks can watch videos, respond to questions, engage with the material, engage with a staff, without, even if they have to do that at midnight or 5 in the morning, whatever their schedule is. So we really try to set it up so that folks could indicate their interest and participate at whatever level works best for them. We had real-time sessions, so synchronous sessions, 1 to 2 times per day throughout the week. Those are really, really fun. I think that those who are in the audience who participated in them can attest to that. It was more fun, I think, than any of us realized that you could have that much fun on Zoom. We have a wonderful colleagues who come in and facilitate some great activities for us to get to know one another and to just make us be more comfortable as we go into the rest of the week. You get to level up. So we created a gaming experience. So when you're determining your level of participation, you'll be assigned to a team, and then you get to determine how many points you want to rack up. So you get points for going to a real-time session, you get points for accessing a video, you get points for asking a question in a chat or asking a question on our platform. So we were able to then send out a certificate for those who sort of meaningfully participated, and you get other incentives. Anyone who signs up gets a free application fee waiver and also preferred consideration for admission. And what that means is that we know your name, you know us. We can we actually have a question on our application for our undergrad program that says, have you participated in the Community College Summer Institute? And so we'll know that you've already taken that first step in learning more, and that always helps with consideration, because we know that you've expressed that level of interest. So it's not an interview. Some people get concerned, a little nervous about what this experience is about. We'd like to say what it is and what it isn't. So it's an opportunity to explore new possibilities and potential careers. The School of Information is, hold on one second. The School of Information is all about, pardon me, I've got a chihuahua that wanted to get out. The School of Information has lots of careers, user experience, design and research, data analyst, project manager, social media manager. There's so many careers and potential possibilities that folks don't know about. So this is an opportunity to explore some of those, connect with peers that share similar interests, familiarize yourself with the School of Information, the University of Michigan. It's not a pre-admission evaluation. It's not a place for judgment, and it's not an interview. This is your time to connect and also have a point of contact. I know that can be really overwhelming to learn about the University of Michigan, School of Information. And so even if you're interested in another school or program, you can always come to us and ask for some of our time, and just really ask questions, any questions you might have about transferring, higher education, financial aid, and we're happy to connect you. So I love this. This was designed, this image was designed by one of our students, our transfer students who transferred from Oakland Community College. They are a senior in the School of Information. They worked with the Institute last year. They were responsible for gamifying or turning this into a game-like experience. And so this shows you their specialty is user experience and user design. So part of that is information. How do you present information in ways that are accessible? And so they're using their skills here. So day 1 was getting to know you. Day 2 was getting ready to transfer part 1. Day 3, meet the professors. Day 4, getting ready to transfer part 2, where you met with academic advisors and met with our admissions folks. And day 5 was really a celebration. We said acorns. So the points that you build up over the week, we call you're building acorns. And the whole experience was hosted, or the host for CCSI was this little guy here, this little squirrel. His name is Mumsy the Squirrel. UMSI stands for the University of Michigan School of Information. We call him Mumsy. And so he was the tour guide throughout the week-long experience. So you'll see him appearing in different spots. So we wanted to make it fun. Here's the scoreboard that we use. There's a website that everyone can look at. We grouped people according to teams, participation, so it doesn't have to feel like you as an individual are being observed or points calculated, but we put it all into a broader team. So the Michigan Leagues, the M-Trotters, the North Quaders, these are all names of buildings at the University of Michigan. And so, like I said, we did everything to make it fun. And then you can see Mumsy there at the top of the leaderboard. This is our platform that we use, Canvas. And so you can see how it was sort of set up. And so we had morning sessions and afternoon sessions. Each day had a theme. So you'll see the theme for the first day was getting started and getting to know you. There's a recorded message from our director. We recommended that folks look at that in the morning. And then it was broken down into different sections, different material, and then a PowerPoint on what is information science. We had a discussion board so folks can put in questions and things like that. So you can really determine your level of participation, but we wanted to make it really accessible. We give you access to University of Michigan's platform. So in order to use Canvas, which is the name of our platform, you get a University of Michigan ID and email. Not to be confused, you're not enrolled in the University of Michigan, but you have access as one of our guests, sort of like a visiting student or guest student in terms of access to some of the online resources, although it doesn't yet give you access to classes, but it's another way that we wanted you to feel part of the University of Michigan community. Feel free to jump in with questions at any point too. So some folks might recognize themselves. This is really fun, and this is one of the final days that we were on the Zoom, and there's Cedric Ingram, who's a GRCC graduate who also just recently graduated from the School of Information. You see Mumsy there on screen with me. I think he should be on screen with me as well. So these are some of the participants. We did a screen capture there. This is some of the feedback that folks gave after only a week. Being able to break through the wall and just speak with students in the program, advisors, and admissions staff. I feel like I now know who I'm addressing for application letters and what to expect. Learning the requirements and inside details. Having insight into the program. A lot of folks just felt some of that intimidation factor that's often present when thinking about University of Michigan. Just got kind of moved out the way and the temperature got lowered a little bit, and folks could really see that we are, really wanting to make the experience really accessible. So thank you so much. There is a website which we'll be updating with application deadlines that'll probably be, like Anna Maria said, sometime in April, since our activity is not until June. It's a pretty simple, straightforward process. Again, we think that the same reasons why we tried to streamline the process last summer are still in play now, right? It's like people are still struggling and still trying to find their sea legs and still trying to figure out what opportunities might be available. And so we do want to make that as straightforward as possible. If we do end up going in person, we may end up bringing back some of the criteria. The criteria is just really, again, very inclusive. We ask for folks to have, if we if we are able to go in person, just because of we provide housing, we provide a stipend. There's a lot that we do in person. This summer we were able to provide a stipend as well, $100. Actually, we gave $100 Amazon gift cards to folks for as a thank you for their time and acknowledgement, as sort of a virtual acorn for the acorns they built up over the course of the week. So that was great. We didn't promise that in the beginning because we didn't know if we'd get 100 people or like 200. Who knows? We had no idea with it being virtual, and so we did with the budget considerations. We weren't sure, but yeah. So that's us. We are you know, deepening our commitment to connecting with community colleges and others. We're working on increasing our staffing, but what has really remained the same is that we want to be accessible and to give folks access to learn more about some of these careers, like user experience research, user experience design, data analyst. Like there's all these careers that are very lucrative. I should say, I think our average salary has gone up maybe to 78,000. I know it was 75 and then it jumped again. So I have to check and see what our latest calculations are. But those are what the average salary folks are making right out of undergrad. And they just have levels of skills, a level of skill that is just drastically needed for companies, especially now. Like, you know, how do we connect? I mean, what is the user experience on Zoom? How do you reach out to communities and consumers and others in virtual environments? So it's just become even more important. The role of social media. We have actually the School of Information has been involved in designing the COVID dashboard that the state of Michigan is using. The current lieutenant governor was the former director of our Center for Social Media Responsibility. So we really believe that you can use information to make the world a better place and for good. So I'm happy to talk more to anyone who has questions. I know Anna Maria will share my contact information, connect you with students and alumni from GRCC. We have current students that are quite a few current students who are from GRCC. Y'all have been a great partner and just excited to help facilitate transfer in any way, be that to the University of Michigan, be that to the School of Information. Our deadline to our program, our undergrad program, is February 1st. So those who maybe participated last year or who want to start in the fall would need to apply by February 1st. We do have some flexibility to March 1st, just especially for those. We do have some level of flexibility, but if you're interested in applying, you can let me know as well. So thanks. That was a lot, but happy to answer any questions as well. Hi, Michelle.
Thanks, Devin. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Hello, I'm Jackie, and
Hi.
I just had a question about the application. Is there any like requirements for the application? Is there like any specifics to be able to get into the program?
You know, so if we continue to be online as we were last year, so I mean, who knows what the world's going to look like by this summer, but definitely by like later winter, we'll know for sure. Right now, the way it's set up is you just have to express interest. You will, you know, you make a commitment to participating, you know, fully being a full, you know, as much as you're able, you know, whatever that looks like for you, you can determine that. So we just ask you to, you know, sign up, share some information about yourself so we can keep track of who we're reaching and also stay in contact with you. I should say our Summer Institute, our idea is to stay in contact with you after you leave. So it's not just a one-off. So that's been a little bit challenging this year just because of everything going on. But so right now there's no threshold. We do try to let you know that if you're interested in applying to University of Michigan, you know, in School of Information, it's important to, you know, to have demonstrated, you know, academic success to some degree. But at this level of the Institute, especially with it being virtual, you know, you can just sign up basically. If it's in person, we'll have a separate process for that to determine, how much space we have for in person if we do that this year. But yeah, we'd love to see you, Jackie, to have you come learn more about the School of Information.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else has any questions? And while you're thinking about your question, I have a story. There's a current student at the School of Information who he was cajoled and pushed and motivated intensely to participate. He went and he came back to GRCC a transformed human. I have never, it was a truly, I've seen the light kind of, this is my path. And it can happen in any of the programs that we're gonna hear from today. But truly, this was an amazing experience. And his next year was dedicated to make sure that he could make it to the School of Information at U of M. That was the path, that was his destiny. And I have never seen somebody work so hard to make sure that that happened. And I still can sort of get emotional when I remember when he got the acceptance letter and he called me and we're all yelling and screaming because all of this is virtual and you can't tag anyone. So anyways, the most incredible experience. So as you might not know that this is the path, and Will tell the story. Will thought he was going engineering all the way, and he did this the 3 days. It was 3 days, I think, then because he was in person, and he came back. It was a whole new discovery. So that's the exciting aspect of participating in the programs.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And what we say is we want the only barrier. We want, if someone says no, we want it to be a real no based on real information. And we want to give people the opportunity to say yes, or let me explore, or let me try. If you've previously considered computer engineering or computer programming or engineering or art, graphic design, management, communication, if you are doing something altogether different but have a passion for if you find yourself on Instagram a lot and social media and you have questions about and opinions about why that works and why it doesn't work and how it makes the world better or worse, if you love video games, if you just have, you see how companies, if you have questions about privacy and technology and, we say our program is really a combination of social science and technology. So it is a STEM field, but we really are focused on accessibility. Because you can create the most amazing technology in the world, but if it doesn't reach folks who need it or it doesn't take into consideration different communities, then it's really pointless, right? So example I use is that a company might say, a doctor's office might say, we're going to have an online form, and they might have a computer programmer design that form, and they just put it out there. But maybe the majority of those patients that you're serving are elderly and don't have access or don't really use technology, or they might not have internet. What did we find during the pandemic? Oh, we'll just put school online. Well, guess what? People didn't have access to internet. They didn't have access to that. So now it's like, oh, okay, how do you do school when, how do you make the technology available and the internet broadband access available? These are all things we're trying to figure out as a society, on sort of in a really urgent way. These are questions that are considered at the School of Information all of the time, because in the end, you might decide that doctor's office might have decided, you know what, the best technology for our patients is pen and paper, because we had this great idea to do this online form, but when you look at it, or we'll make it so they come into the office and we give them an iPad that's really straightforward, that they can use. That will help us, or maybe it won't help us, right? But those questions around technology, those questions that you ask to make sure they're actually useful for people is important. And students, some of our students love computer programming. Everyone gets a basic knowledge of it and has to complete courses in computer programming. Our prereqs are an introduction class to computer programming, first year writing, and then an introduction to statistics class. So those are the 3 prerequisites for our program. And we talk more about that, but we also just want to open up folks' ideas so that even if you're not going to be the person creating that form or creating that app or creating that interface, you will understand about how programming works so that you can have a very intelligent conversation, and you might sort of be able to sketch it out or do a very first version of something that you're thinking about that you think will make a big difference, and then you'll be able to talk and hand that over to the hardcore programmers who will do the in-depth work, but you'll be skilled enough to have those conversations with them. So we have students that run a wide range of interests, a lot of interest in business and entrepreneurship, because of course information is everything and technology is pervasive. There's nothing that's not touched by technology. And if you have folks who can think critically about how to use technology and how to center the user, companies, like, that's just invaluable for companies and for nonprofits and anywhere where you might want to work or even start your own business. So that's just a plug. And we're just so grateful for all of our GRCC students. They're amazing.
Thanks, Devin. What we'll do is I'm going to stop the recording now.